Separating the neutral and ground conductors at the subpanel is essential for safety. It provides a dedicated path for fault current to return to its source, preventing ground faults from energizing the neutral conductor and creating a shock hazard. According to the National Electrical Code, specifically the 2014 edition, the neutral and ground must be separated in all subpanels where there is a branch circuit breaker protecting 20 or more amps. Splitting the neutral and ground at the main panel is not recommended. If the neutral and ground were split at the main panel, it would create a condition where a fault on both the neutral and ground conductors could occur, resulting in a double fault that could potentially damage the main panel and other equipment. In a properly wired system, current flows from the source through the branch circuit back through the neutral conductor and then to the ground conductor. If the neutral and ground were split at the main panel, current could flow in the reverse direction, potentially causing damage to equipment or creating a shock hazard. If the neutral and ground wires were joined together on the same bar, it would create a direct connection between the neutral and ground conductors. This would eliminate the dedicated path for fault current. Ground faults would flow through the neutral conductor, potentially energizing it and creating a shock hazard. Joining the neutral and ground conductors is a violation of the National Electrical Code and could result in failed electrical inspections. The main purpose of the grounding system is to provide a safe path for fault current to return to its source. If the neutral and ground are joined, this path is compromised, reducing the effectiveness of the grounding system. Think of the electrical system as a carefully designed network of pathways. The neutral wire is intended to carry the normal return current from electrical devices back to the source, typically the main electrical panel. The ground wire, on the other hand, is a safety net. Its primary purpose is to provide a low-resistance path for fault current to flow back to the source in the event of a short circuit or other electrical fault. In the main panel, the neutral and ground are bonded together. This means they are connected at a single point, usually on a grounding bus bar. This bonding is crucial for ensuring that the grounding system can effectively clear faults and protect against electrical shock. The main panel serves as the central point for distributing electricity throughout the building. It's where the service entrance conductors from the utility company connect, and it's where the main disconnect switch is located. Because the main panel is the entry point for electricity, it's essential that the grounding system is properly established at this location. When you install a subpanel, you're essentially creating a new distribution point for electricity. The subpanel receives power from the main panel and then distributes it to various branch circuits. Because the subpanel is downstream from the main panel, it's important to maintain a clear separation between the neutral and ground conductors. This is because if you were to bond the neutral and ground in the subpanel, you would create a parallel path for neutral current. Neutral current is the current that flows back to the source on the neutral wire under normal operating conditions. If you have multiple points where the neutral and ground are bonded, some of this neutral current will flow through the ground wire. This can create a number of problems. Firstly, it can cause the ground wire to become energized, which can create a shock hazard. Secondly, it can interfere with the operation of ground fault circuit interrupters, commonly known as GFCIs. GFCIs are designed to detect small imbalances in current between the hot and neutral wires, which can indicate a ground fault. If neutral current is flowing through the ground wire, it can mask these imbalances and prevent the GFCI from tripping. Thirdly, it can create noise and interference in sensitive electronic equipment. To avoid these problems, the National Electrical Code requires that the neutral and ground conductors be kept separate in subpanels. This means that the neutral wire must be isolated from the subpanel enclosure and connected only to the neutral busbar. The ground wire, on the other hand, must be connected to the subpanel enclosure and to a separate grounding busbar. The grounding busbar should then be connected to the grounding electrode system, which consists of things like ground rods or water pipes that are buried in the earth. By keeping the neutral and ground separate in the subpanel, you ensure that neutral current flows only on the neutral wire and that the ground wire is reserved for fault current. This helps to maintain a safe and reliable electrical system. Violating the National Electrical Code provisions regarding neutral and ground separation can have serious consequences. Firstly, it can create a shock hazard. If the ground wire becomes energized due to neutral current, anyone who touches a grounded object could receive an electrical shock. Secondly, it can interfere with the operation of GFCIs. This can leave people unprotected from ground faults. Thirdly, it can damage equipment. If neutral current flows through the ground wire, it can create noise and interference that can damage sensitive electronic equipment. Fourthly, it can void your insurance policy. Most insurance policies require that electrical work be performed in accordance with the National Electrical Code. If you violate the code, your insurance company may refuse to cover any damages that result from the improper wiring. In addition to the safety concerns, there are also practical reasons for separating the neutral and ground in a subpanel. When the neutral and ground are properly separated, it becomes much easier to troubleshoot electrical problems. If there is a ground fault, it will be easier to trace the fault back to its source. This is because the fault current will flow only through the ground wire, making it easier to identify the problem circuit. If the neutral and ground are bonded together, the fault current can flow through both the neutral and ground wires, making it much more difficult to locate the fault. Here's a more detailed explanation of how fault current flows in a properly grounded system. In a properly grounded system, the ground wire provides a low resistance path for fault current to flow back to the source. This low resistance path is essential for ensuring that the fault current is high enough to trip the circuit breaker or fuse protecting the circuit. When the circuit breaker or fuse trips, it interrupts the flow of current and prevents further damage or injury. If the ground wire is not properly connected or if it is not of sufficient size, the fault current may not be high enough to trip the circuit breaker or fuse. This can allow the fault current to continue flowing, which can cause overheating, fires, and electrical shock. The size of the ground wire is determined by the size of the circuit conductors. The National Electrical Code specifies the minimum size of ground wire that is required for each size of circuit conductor. It's important to use the correct size of ground wire to ensure that the grounding system can effectively clear faults. In addition to the size of the ground wire, it's also important to ensure that the ground wire is properly connected. The ground wire must be connected to the subpanel enclosure into a separate grounding bus bar. The grounding bus bar should then be connected to the grounding electrode system. The grounding electrode system consists of things like ground rods or water pipes that are buried in the earth. The grounding electrode system provides a connection to the earth, which helps to stabilize the voltage of the electrical system and provide a path for fault current to flow back to the source. When installing a subpanel, it's important to follow all of the requirements of the National Electrical Code. This includes separating the neutral and ground conductors, using the correct size of ground wire, and properly connecting the ground wire to the grounding electrode system. By following these requirements, you can ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable. It is also important to remember that electrical work can be dangerous and should only be performed by qualified individuals. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a licensed electrician to do the work. Licensed electricians have the training and experience necessary to perform electrical work safely and in accordance with the National Electrical Code. When hiring an electrician, be sure to ask for proof of licensure and insurance. You should also check their references to make sure they have a good reputation. A qualified electrician will be able to properly install a subpanel and ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable. The potential for a double fault condition is a key reason why splitting the neutral and ground at the main panel is not allowed. A double fault occurs when there is a fault on both the neutral and ground conductors simultaneously. This can happen if, for example, a wire comes loose and touches both the neutral and ground bus bars. If the neutral and ground was split at the main panel, a double fault could create a high voltage condition on the ground wire. This is because the ground wire would no longer be connected to the neutral, which is referenced ground. The high voltage condition on the ground wire could create a serious shock hazard. It could also damage equipment connected to the grounding system. By bonding the neutral and ground at the main panel, you ensure that the ground wire remains at or near ground potential, even in the event of a double fault. This helps to protect against electrical shock and equipment damage. The risk of unintended reverse current flow is another important reason for not splitting the neutral and ground at the main panel. In a properly wired system, current flows from the source through the branch circuit back through the neutral conductor, and then to the ground conductor. The ground conductor is intended to carry only fault current, not normal operating current. If the neutral and ground were split at the main panel, current could flow in the reverse direction, from the ground conductor to the neutral conductor. This can happen if there is a difference in potential between the ground and neutral conductors. The reverse current flow can create a number of problems. It can cause the ground wire to become energized, which can create a shock hazard. It can also interfere with the operation of ground fault circuit interrupters, and it can create noise and interference in sensitive electronic equipment. By bonding the neutral and ground at the main panel, you ensure that current flows in the proper direction. This helps to prevent the ground wire from becoming energized and to ensure that the electrical system operates safely and reliably. The consequences of joining neutral and ground wires improperly are significant. Firstly, as emphasized, it eliminates the dedicated path for fault current. This means that in the event of a ground fault, the fault current may not flow back to the source quickly enough to trip the circuit breaker or fuse. This can allow the fault current to continue flowing, which can cause overheating, fires, and electrical shock. Secondly, joining neutral and ground wires violates the National Electrical Code. This can result in failed electrical inspections and potential fines. It can also void your insurance policy. Thirdly, it reduces the effectiveness of the grounding system. The grounding system is designed to provide a safe path for fault current to return to its source. If the neutral and ground are joined, this path is compromised, reducing the effectiveness of the grounding system. This can make the electrical system more vulnerable to electrical shock and equipment damage. It's important to understand the purpose of a grounding electrode system. The grounding electrode system, which often includes ground rods, metal water pipes, or other approved electrodes, serves as a connection to the earth. This connection helps to stabilize the voltage of the electrical system and provide a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source. The grounding electrode system is not intended to carry normal operating current. It is only intended to carry fault current in the event of a ground fault. Therefore, the separation of neutral and ground conductors is paramount to ensure the proper functioning of both the neutral current path and the safety ground fault path. Understanding the code requirements, such as those found in the National Electrical Code, is critical for safe and compliant electrical installations.